However, there was something I saw in the statement. The Igbo traders there, because there's an ethnic dimension to it, they were described as immigrants. Now,
hello and what's up, guys? In this video, we are diving into one of the hottest and most controversial stories shaking Nigeria right now. The demolition at the Lagos Trade Fair complex, the outrage it has sparked, and why the debate about Igbos being called immigrants in Lagos has set the country on fire. And trust me, you don't want to miss how Abati and Rufai reacted because they did not hold back. Guys, picture this. A bustling market, thousands of shops, traders who have spent decades building their businesses, many of them Igbo entrepreneurs who left the east to find greener pastures in Lagos. Suddenly, bulldozers rolled in. Buildings are pulled down, livelihoods are crushed in a matter of hours. This is not just about concrete and iron rods. It is about people's sweat, their loans, their families, and their future. And now, the demolition at the Lagos International Trade Fair complex has exploded into a national debate. The Lagos State government says the demolition was about enforcing planning laws. They claim the buildings had no proper approvals and that traders were given several chances to regularize their papers. But here is the twist. Many traders insist they had valid approvals from the Federal Management Board that oversees the trade fair complex. They say the state government overstepped its powers. So who is telling the truth, and why does this feel bigger than just a legal dispute? Now, here is where it gets even more sensitive. The majority of traders at the trade fair are Igbos. For decades, the Igbo community has been at the center of Lagos commerce, electronics, spare parts, fabrics, you name it. But after this demolition, some voices began calling Igbos immigrants in Lagos. Imagine that, citizens of Nigeria being branded as outsiders in their own country. This is what has sparked outrage, and it is not the first time. Remember the heated debates during the last elections when ethnic tensions in Lagos boiled over? This demolition has reopened old wounds. Now, let's talk about the reactions. On Arise TV, two of Nigeria's most outspoken broadcasters, Dr. Reuben, Abati, and Oseni, took this issue head-on. Abati described the demolition as a dangerous move that could destabilize the fragile unity of Nigeria. He questioned why the government will destroy businesses at a time when the country is already biting hard. Rufai, on the other hand, went even harder. He blasted the idea of calling Igbos immigrants in Lagos, reminding everyone that Lagos was built by contributions from all Nigerians, not just one ethnic group. He warned that such language is divisive and dangerous. Their fairy exchange has gone viral with clips circulating all over social media. Nigerians are now asking, is this really about urban planning, or is it about politics and ethnicity? And it doesn't stop there. Former vice presidential candidate Peter Obi visited the demolition site alongside senators like Abati and Victor Ume. Obi called it a test of justice and compassion, saying traders had invested their life savings, often through loans, only to watch everything vanish overnight. But the Lagos state government fired back, accusing Obi of playing politics as misleading the public. They insist the demolition were lawful, citing a Supreme Court ruling that gives states control over physical planning, even on federal lands. So we now have a clash between law and compassion, between federal and state authority, and between ethnic identity and national unity. Let's pause for a moment. This is not the first time demolitions in Lagos have sparked controversy. Remember the Oshodi Market demolition or the Oto Ilogbo evictions? Each time, thousands of traders were displaced, and each time, questions were raised about whether the poor and vulnerable were being unfairly targeted. But this trade fair case feels different because it touches on the sensitive issues of Igbo presence in Lagos. For decades, Igbo have been told to go back home whenever tension rise. Yet, Lagos thrive because of their trade and enterprise. So the big question is, can Lagos truly claim to be a center of commerce if it alienates one of its biggest commercial communities? Think about ordinary trader, a man who borrowed millions from the bank to build a shop, a woman who sells fabric to feed her children. Overnight, their shops are gone. No compensation, no alternative, just rubble. This is why emotions are running high. It is not just about politics. It is about survival. And here is where the suspense lies. Will this demolition trigger more ethnic tension in Lagos? Will it push Igbos to withdraw their investment and return to the east? Or will it force the government to rethink how it handles urban planning and ethnic relations? Already, social media is buzzing with heated debate. Some say this is a wake-up call for Igbos to invest more in their homeland. Others argue that Nigeria cannot progress if citizens are treated as strangers in their own country. Guys, this story is not going away anytime soon. The demolition at the trade fair complex has opened up old wounds, raised new questions, and put Lagos right at the center of Nigeria's ethnic and political storm. And with voices like Abati and Rufai blowing hot and politicians like Peter Obi weighing in, you can be sure this debate will shape conversations for weeks to come. There you have it, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Feel free to share your thoughts after watching.
However, there was something I saw in this statement. The Igbo traders there, because there's an ethnic dimension to it, they were described as immigrants. Now, a Nigerian cannot be an immigrant inside Nigeria. And I think that we should refrain ourselves, whatever may be the level of provocation, from referring to a Nigerian as a refugee or as an immigrant in his own country.
Has fired back at Peter Obi over his criticism of the trade fair complex demolitions, accusing him of misleading Nigerians about the legality of the affected structures. In a statement released on Wednesday by Gbenga Omotosho, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, the government insisted that the demolished buildings had no valid permits and that the traders were misleading the public about their documentation, adding that they ignored opportunities to regularize their documents during the amnesty declared last year, citing the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Act of 1992 and a 2003 Supreme Court ruling. The commissioner emphasized that the physical planning approval for any construction in Lagos must come from state government and that federal boards cannot override the requirement except the exclusive areas such as military formations. Dr. Abati, you know that this trade fair demolition has sparked a fierce debate over regulatory authority and due process. Traders affected by the demolition claim that the Trade Fair Management Board authorized the buildings. Omotosho clarified that the board only has powers to manage leases and tenancies, not granting building approvals. This issue exposes the complex jurisdictional tensions between federal agencies and state authorities in Nigeria's planning framework and highlights the need for a clearer regulatory framework governing such properties. And that's really what it is. We need a clearer governing framework. These affected traders are claiming that they had, the Trade Fair Board approve their buildings. And, the state government is saying it is the state's responsibility to approve buildings. Your thoughts on this?
Okay. Look, let me start with Gbenga Omotosho, who is the Commissioner for Information. He was saying, in response to the protest by traders at Aspamda, it is otherwise called, the trade fair complex in Lagos, that look, these traders, before they put up their structures, did not receive approvals. They claim that they got the approval from the federal government board, and it was quoting the law in the statement that the Lagos state government put out, namely that, look, yes, you may say trade fair belongs to the federal government, but it is determined in the fiscal planning laws and also in a quoted AG Lagos versus AG Federation. That is the Lagos state government who has control over buildings and all of that. And that an attempt had been made previously to reach out to the traders in Aspamda at the trade fair complex, and they just ignored the Lagos state government and said, we don't have any control, we don't have any business with you. However, I think it is good that Mr. Peter Obi visited the place alongside Senator Abati Rufai and also Senator Victor Ume from Anambra Central. Naya is from Abia South, to identify with these persons who are the owners of the structures at the trade fair. However, there was something I saw in the statement. The Igbo traders there, because there's an ethnic dimension to it, they were described as immigrants. Now, a Nigerian cannot be an immigrant inside Nigeria. And I think that we should refrain ourselves, whatever may be the level of provocation, from referring to a Nigerian as a refugee or as an immigrant in his own country.
Can you imagine?
The Constitution of Nigeria, Chapter 4, dealing with fundamental human rights, says, as a Nigerian, you can live anywhere. So this indigenous settler thing has to come to an end. And those who are going on social media referring to Igbos as immigrants in Lagos should know that they have the right to be in Lagos. Just as, where is that your village? Oh, okay, you are from
I'm from Lagos Island.
Okay, she is the one who may be described as an immigrant. But
I live in Lagos.
Mr. Peter Obi made the point by saying that even when government is insisting on laws, insisting on rights, government must operate with justice, with humanity.
This is it.
With a human face.
This is it.
And I think that's just the bottom line of it, so that we do not get all of this reduced to the level of ethnicity. As for Professor Wole Soyinka, I think, this is a major achievement for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it's a great credit to the Gowon administration, to the Obasanjo administration, and to everyone involved in this revival, not just of a building, not just of a monument, but of a national pride called the National Theatre of Nigeria. And also to the Bankers Committee, and also to Emefiele, who has other issues with the government. But perhaps this is one thing that we will be remembered for being governor of the central bank, because it was under his watch that all of this was galvanized, and the Lagos State government gave support.
Right.
Professor Wole Soyinka deserves the honor. He says he receives it with mixed feelings and with a sense of nostalgia. But I think it's important that that cultural symbol is named after a man who not only won the Nobel Prize in 1986, but who is also a global citizen and a major source of inspiration for generations of Nigerian literary students and workers, including the speaker.
Fantastic.
As for President Tinubu saying Nigerians abroad should come back home, they should believe in Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria first. We all believe in that. But this country should be made an attractive environment.
This is it.
We want Nigerians to come home. Do we have electricity? Do we have good roads? Do we have medical care? Many Nigerians who are abroad, many Nigerians who are japping, to use a famous phrase, they are doing so because the enabling conditions are not here.
Yes.
When President Tinubu says, come home, put Nigeria first, support your country, don't criticize your country, we should make Nigeria more attractive.
Absolutely.
The pastor of hope, Pastor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been preaching hope, he should deliver on that pastoral mandate.
Yes.
And then, of course, they will not need to preach too much for Nigerians abroad to promote their country and to come back home. Over to you, Pastor Tinubu.
Pastor Tinubu, and that is the actual point. I mean, I came back home just like our beautiful Somi came back home because she believes in Nigeria. She wanted to see her state, Anambra, thrive. She wanted to be a politician. But we need to continue to encourage our young people out there by putting in policies in place that would, attract them to come back home, really. Well,